So in November, he did £25,000. We're in March now, and he's already done 39,400. What's been the main reason for the growth in your opinion? And then he's already this week doing 84 visits, which is absolutely insane.
One for me was about running Facebook ads. Would it affect your reputation? That can then hold you back. It's not about treating pain, it's about changing people's lives.
Hello, and I am here with one of my favourite clients. We're here with Jake Neal. So Jake has been with us for around 5 months now. It's gone like a flash, really, to be honest. And he's had some really, really great results. He's had massive changes in the clinic as well, which I'm really excited to go through with everyone and then see his journey, because it's very, well, to be honest, I find it reasonably inspirational, Jake, to be honest, what you've achieved and where you've gone from, because you made some great decisions, tough decisions over the last few months, and I've kind of gone through that journey with you, and it's exciting to see. So yeah, he owns a clinic called Innate Health. So in November, which is roughly like around when we started, he did £25,000, which is still like a good sized clinic. But we're in March now, it is the 26th, and he's already done £39,400. So we're already at a 6% increase. We're not done with the month yet. And he's only really just getting started, it seems. He's doing some really cool stuff, making some big moves, which we'll talk about. He also has had one of his new associates, Hannes, start with him in mid-Jan. And that was from literally baseline, like 0. And then he's already this week doing 84 visits, which is absolutely insane, to be honest, especially because you already have another associate, obviously Seb, and yourself doing it, so he's not getting all your new patients. You have to spread it out. So yeah, really great retention, conversion. Obviously you're getting a good amount of new patients from there as well. But yeah, welcome, Jake. I don't know if you want to add to that introduction at all, but yeah, very nice to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, all good.
Amazing, cool. Well, let's dive in. I think one of the best places to get started would be, conversion is obviously one of the most important things, especially when you're doing marketing, because if you're not converting the patients, it's going to be very, very hard to be profitable. So could you talk me through, this is like, I love to start this way, the way you do your initial process. So that might be a day 1, day 2, just how does that work in your practice?
Yeah, so we've gone through a whole evolution, but having a really solid day 1 and day 2, and hitting all the touch points, giving them welcome booklets so they can go away, see what's involved, see what we provide, see the level of care that we provide, and then getting people on care plans, which are then prepaid, pre-booked, and all scheduled out. And then that sets up the whole plan then for the next 12 weeks, and then keeps our diaries busy.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And I think one of the what's the main reason for you why you weren't always doing a day 1, day 2 process, is that right?
Well, we've really got it honed down now, but yeah, previously it was more of a mishmash, and then we've worked a lot on role playing, communication. What we have is we're probably only 3 clinics in the UK that have a 3D posture scan. So we take people through a whole process where they can see their posture in 3D and see their spinal curves and their forward head posture and their pelvic tilts. And so we just provide a lot of value, and then it makes sense. People see the necessity of having a care plan that extends over several months to correct their deeper layers.
And what was the reason, because that is really unique, I don't know if we have any other client that has that 3D posture scan. What was the reason for wanting to get that in the clinic?
Just because we didn't have x-ray. We might bring x-ray on this year with our
very exciting.
Yeah, using our spinal decompression, but because if you base their process on pain, pain's quite short-lived, and then you're looking at sort of 6 visits in, a lot of people's pain is significantly reduced. So it gives us an anchor to say pain is that initial phase of relief care, but then what we're aiming at is getting significant changes in your posture. And then we have quite a strong neurological approach where we talk about the tension in their flexor tone and their deep postural muscles, and then we can see that on the scans. And then they know that the objective then is a much deeper process of like reorientating their whole skeletal posture and their range of motion, and a deeper aspect.
And what's the reason for wanting to add X-ray when you have the 3D posture scan? What's the reason for wanting to add X-rays on top of that?
Well, we've just taken on the IDD spinal decompression, so it's a really
exciting
big
stuff.
Yeah, it's great, and ideally you need imaging. So if they don't have an MRI, then an X-ray can work in most cases. And so we just currently refer people sometimes to another clinic that has X-ray on site, but it would make sense if it's going to be used a lot to then have an X-ray in-house.
Yeah, definitely. It'll pay for itself very, very quickly. We'll have to do because we're about to start doing IDD marketing for you very, very soon. So we'll have to do another updated one in 3 to 6 months' time or something, and see how that goes. But I'm looking forward to it. We've done it before, and it's got fantastic results. So that'll be exciting. But to kind of loop into how, because the last months you has been, I think it'd be fair to say, reasonably crazy for you, like in terms of growth and changes and that sort of stuff. What's been the main reason for the growth in your opinion?
We're always working on our systems, but then having an associate that could just fit right in and was really keen and eager to grow, and we were just able, like through the ads and as well, being able to get his diary like pretty much close to capacity in just like a couple of months' time, in the space of 2 months. So yeah, that was a big relief.
Yeah, it's been a big change, which is very, very cool. Yeah. And so, because Hannes obviously he's not a new grad, he's been doing this before, and I think that's obviously the ideal situation for most people when they hire associates, which is they want someone who has experience, who already can convert, they can rely on them from the start. But it's hard to do, right? Like, because you haven't always, like, you've had other associates in the past who are new grads, and it's a bit trickier with the conversion side of things.
Yeah.
So how did you? And maybe you don't even know how, but I'd be interested to know if you do. How did you get Hannes to come and join your team? And then also, because I think he had to relocate for this as well. And then how did you find him?
So yeah, he was working in Holland. He'd only been out for a year. And then...
oh, really? Oh, well, his conversions are really good for a year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he just knew about us on socials. And then our other associate, Seb, was the year above at college. So they did sort of know each other just briefly, and then we met with Hannes and his family at Cairo, Europe, on the beach, and then
a very professional talk, I imagine.
Yeah. So then he sort of asked about a job, and it took like 6 months, and then it all worked out, and then he moved over from Holland.
Really, it's just like a 6 month process then.
Yeah, just tying up loose ends.
It's impressive the patience you have to have, and I think maybe a lot of people could learn from that as well. With like, you just have to be patient to find the right person. When they're good, you just have to wait a little bit.
I think people are just attracted to the vibe. You know, we have all this, you know, cutting edge technology and this neuro approach, and it's something on a much deeper level than a lot of the superficial stuff. And then when you combine that with like a really nice office, and the space is really nice, and you stand out then, and people just are attracted to that.
It's the culture. The culture is the
and it comes from
most important thing.
You know, you have a certain vision for your practice and how you want to work and how you approach people, and then that really seeps into the aesthetic and the vibe and sort of the level of care that you can offer. And I think it naturally draws like chiropractors in that want to work in that way.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Because you've invested, because I know you're literally doing like another floor in your building right now. Like you're gonna have 2 floors. So you've invested, because I don't know if practices do this enough, where they like invest into the practice to make it look nice and be a nice environment. Like, is that something you have focused on quite a lot then?
Yeah, massive. Yeah. So we've just doubled the space, and I think when I look around, I think like a lot of the models people are practicing is like hasn't changed in 30 years. It's like, why don't we have like 3D Bosch scans? Like, why don't we have like high end, like really nice practices, not like plastic chairs and like just white walls and blue vinyl, and like, so you get it all back, you know, if you invest in, just like in, you invest time training and learning to adjust, like you put that into your business as well, and then it pays itself. Like, so we've just created a recovery suite, which I'm only aware of like one other practice in the UK that has something similar. And so we have,
That's well cool.
you know, a 4-person sauna. We have like a really powerful infrared bed. We have, you know, this Hyper Vibe, which is a whole body vibration plates. And then we have the IDD.
Whoa, I didn't even know this. I actually had. Is this something that's new, like on the ground floor, or is this something that you've had before?
No, it's new. Yeah, it's all being finished this weekend, and then we're gonna open it up to clients. So
there's way too many angles I'd love to take this. I think the one that impresses me the most from knowing you about yourself, like one of your traits that I think would be valuable for everyone, is your willingness to invest, because you touched on that there, like you're investing into the practice. Where does that come from? Because I've noticed with you, like you have a lot of conviction that you're going to, that things will succeed, that things will work out, and you're willing to take like the risky bets when the opportunity arises. Because when you decided to get the ground floor, like it wasn't so obvious as it is now that it was a good move, but obviously it was.
I think it comes
come
from, you know, that energy of like serving, and I don't think you can lose when you do it for the right reason. Like you're doing it because you want to reach more people, you provide a better service, you can provide more facilities, there's more scope to add additional technologies, whether it's like decompression. So for me, it's like, you know, there's a quote that I sort of live by, which is
I love this.
like, you know,
I'm gonna write it down. I'm gonna write it.
If you you know, if you desire the good and you do things for the good, like the whole universe is behind you, it backs you, because you're doing it because you want to serve people and give people a better experience. So I'm not just like adding things in because then I can like charge an extra service. Like we provide the recovery suite like basically as an additional benefit without an additional cost.
You're not charging any more for it?
No, because
Wow.
the way I look at it is we have a fixed cost to like purchase the sauna and the beds and the vibration plate, but then that's just.
I imagine you'll get a good use out of the sauna anyway, so
using
it'll pay for itself.
But it's going to skyrocket people's experience and people's recovery, and then it's all about word of mouth, and you know, it's something I don't know of any other practices that have all those aspects, you know. So I think, why aren't we all creating something that's really special? I'd rather be, you know, it's okay if you want to be a McDonald's style provider, or you can stand out and you can do something that's, you know, cutting edge, or you're pushing the boundaries, and so that's my motivation really.
I love that. That is really, really cool. And so with the investing side of things, is it not something that's intentional then? Because like for me personally, I realized that you have to spend to make a return.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that and almost like force myself to do it. And then now for me, like I'm always like just spend. So that came more naturally to you, or is it something that you kind of developed as time and the business has grown?
It's always been natural, because for me it's like when chiropractic gets in you, it's just an extension and it's a reflection of you. So if I have a business and people always come in and they always comment on the space and the vibe, and it's really stunning, and you know, we make sure there's really nice furniture, and it looks the part, and it's because that just reflects probably like my deeper values, and like you don't want to go to like a crappy hospital if you could go to a nice one. So why would it be different? So people just love our space in general, and they comment on it all the time. And we play nice music, and it's a nice vibe.
Yeah, I really love that. That's really, really cool. On And I'm going to jump around loads here because there's a few key things I had in my mind that I wanted to get, because your like perspective on it is really good. It is linked to the investing side of things, but it's not to do with the practice. It's to do with like coaching, because you've done a lot of, like every time we speak, you're always off to like some seminar. Like you mentioned Cairo Europe earlier. Like you do a lot of consultancy and coaching stuff with people. I guess what's the most beneficial thing that you've got out of that, and why do you continue to do it so consistently all the time, investing into yourself and your practice?
Basically, you can only, because we can only see from our own level, our own perspective. So you need someone that's been there, done it, and that can see a bit further in the distance. And it saves you years and years of heartache. If you don't know how to run a practice, and you see someone that has a very, very successful one, and then instantly they can tell you, oh, do this, do that, implement these aspects, get these protocols down, like run it this way, and then you saved yourself 10 years of trial and error. So it's about whatever level you're at, there's always other people that can help mold you and shape you, and like give you a different vision. Like you can't possibly have a vision outside of yourself, if that makes sense. Like you need input. You need, the same way we need client feedback to say, oh, that works really well, this doesn't. Like you need that for your business, and you can't see your blind spots. So having a coach is just a no-brainer.
Yeah. And I think it's a really, really great, it's that paying off of ignorance debt. Like you don't know what you don't know. Or it's like the sort of rat in the cage. Like they don't know they're in a cage, and the outside world is actually out there. And so you get different paradigms when you have the coaching, and it's so obvious to them. Like if you were speaking to a practice who was at 10k and they want to get to 40k, it's so obvious for you, but for them it's just like, it just looks so blurry.
Yeah, exactly. And then when
you
start doing the things that you didn't know were possible, and then 6 months to a year later, it's so obvious, or it's so basic, like having direct debits, having memberships, and then once it's in place, it's so obvious, but you don't necessarily know, like, oh, I should be having a direct debit system, and you should be having a booking app. And lots of practices don't even have booking like that, online booking on an app.
Is that Zoni you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because Zoni's been like is that, would you say, a big critical part of what you've done then?
Yeah.
Are you seeing that thing? When did you implement Zoni? How long ago?
It was probably this time last year, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
So lots changed in the clinic in a year then? Because if you've
in 2 years,
new software.
It was just myself. Closed room.
2 years ago, it was just you.
Yeah, I was closed room, 20-minute appointments, no CA, and then in a very short time I moved office. So as soon as in the new office was open plan, and then the CAs, and then 7.
Is that the top floor that you're on currently right now, and then you just got the bottom floor?
Yeah. So we went to open plan, had the first associate. And then now we're able to, like, because there's 3 Cairos now, we can then have the practice open like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. with the split shifts. So we've been able to sort of double almost our availability with the clinic being open.
How was the shift from going from closed plan to open plan? Because I speak about it a lot to practice owners and clinic owners, and I think it is a bit of a scary jump for some people. Did you feel that, or were you just like, let's do it, smash it?
It took me basically a year of like mulling it over.
Really? Wow.
In my mind, and then I knew, because I was moving office, and then I had to configure it in a certain way. And then I went and ordered 3 benches, and I knew at that point, like, okay, now I've ordered the benches, like there's no going back. And then
Yeah.
it was quite scary, but now you don't think about it, once you do it.
Are you happy with the decision then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And because I think the biggest worry about people moving from closed plan to open plan is like the service will be worse, I guess.
Mm.
Have you, like, what's your perspective on that? Because I'm assuming with the move, it hasn't dropped and results haven't dropped. But yeah, talk me through that side of things.
Um, we find it really nice because we have, we work across 2 benches each, but there's like a little partition in the middle. It's just one of those IKEA ones on its side. But there's plants around. So once they're on the bench, they can't see above that. And then
Okay,
we work,
it makes sense.
we work between the two. And then what we do is once they're on the bench, and then we're adjusting them, and then we block them. And then the blocking needs 5 minutes. So then in that time, we start with the next client, and then it's actually they need that time on the blocks. So rather than just twiddling your thumbs, you can start with the next one, and it's just a whole nice vibe because we have speakers all around the room, and then it's really relaxing, and like you're in a process and you feel like the energy's flowing, and then you can talk a little bit and then people overhear it, but it's really nice. It's a really pleasant atmosphere.
And on a patient side, like I mentioned this in a few other podcasts that I've done. I've in an open plan. I get adjusted in an open plan, and I like it. But to be fair, when I do it, there's sometimes like a third person on the third bench, but it's usually me and Francesca because we go as two. But that's also when it's quite nice as well. If you have like a couple coming in, I imagine you have that sometimes, and it makes it really really nice dynamic. I really like doing being adjusted in an open plan practice, and it does make a lot of sense on the block because that's literally what happens with me. So it's just more efficient. And it means you can serve more people, right, with the amount of time you have in the day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's your, everything just comes from your intention, and you're not trying to, it's not from a perspective of like, oh, how can I squeeze people in, or let's go open plan. It's you're creating a specific environment for healing, and then you can be efficient. And like your intention isn't that, it's just a money making opportunity,
Definitely. What made you want to start an associate-based practice? Because again, there's you got open plan, you got closed plan, and you got some people who want to stay solo. Some people build the associate-based practice. What's the? Because it's definitely adds more complexity to your life, and yeah.
Well, initially when I
assume.
first opened up on my own, and then the thought was like petrifying. But yeah, I think it's a natural progression. And then I was doing coaching, with Stefan, and you do reach a level where your diary's full, and then you have to take that step, or that's your limit. Otherwise, there's no progression in your life. You've reached your capacity, so you can then choose. Oh, do I just drastically reduce my treatment times, which I didn't want to do, and then it made complete sense then to have an associate, and then it's nice working with chiropractors. It just brings a different dynamic than being on your own, and then you can bounce off each other, and it's just
What's the key thing you've learned? Because we kind of touched on the hiring a little bit, but what's the key thing you've learned about managing chiropractors? Because it's an interesting dynamic, especially me as like a business owner. Like we have people who are they're not associates, but they're self-employed in our company who still they only work for us, and it is a similar sort of dynamic, but then also not, because they're self-employed. But they work inside the clinic, and so sometimes they can probably be like egos maybe, and you need to like manage people's expectations, and you need to make sure that everyone's happy as well. You need to make sure everyone's getting a good amount of patients. You need to make sure they're getting trained enough and that they're developing so that they stay with you. What's the key thing that you've learned from managing, well, now two at this current minute? and very high level associates as well, like doing really good work and good numbers.
I think people feed off of you know, the energy really, which it's built into everything. Like we talked about earlier, like you want to be the best at everything, so we're just really synced in together. Like we all want to be really really good adjusters. We have like this very similar vitalistic philosophy of like, you know, adjusting at a really high level, and it's neuro based. So we're all sort of singing from the same hymn sheet in terms of like what we want to achieve as outcomes, and then just getting dialed in on our procedures, and it just helps because we're all similar ages, and it's more we have really good friendships, you know, together. So that really helps in the practice.
And so I guess it's like you've got a really great team culture practically, which is kind of what we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
and it's probably a lot of the things we mentioned earlier today about the practice being nice, the culture, the energy, everything is.
And it's
It all
not a
just feeds into it.
hierarchical thing, you know. Like when I first started as a chiropractor many years ago, um, the chiropractor said to me like, "Oh, I'm not your boss. We're colleagues." And that's always like stayed with me. And you know, everyone's just trying to be the best version of themselves. So we don't have all of this like, "Oh, you're just an associate," or like there's no hierarchy in terms of that, because everyone's managing their own patient base, and then we're all trying to get the same really good results. So yeah, we'll just all work as a team.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And were you checking? I guess that was one of the key things in the hiring process, and that you're checking that you have that sort of similar mindset.
Yeah,
Everyone on the team is so you're all going in the same direction.
yeah, you know straight away like how someone is when you first interact with them, and yeah,
Yeah.
you can just know.
I do. You can. You can. You can probably know in like 5 seconds, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you still do a 30-minute interview, even though you know 5 minutes in.
On the beach.
Uh,
Yeah.
So, with a lot of pina coladas or something.
Yeah.
I need to go to Cairo, Europe. I haven't been yet. I need to get it on the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was because I had something pop up in my head. This is more for me personally, because have you ever heard of the term frequency before?
Mm.
It's like similar to energy. Have you heard of it?
Oh yeah.
So, because because I've met you in real life, you have a great frequency. Is kind of the way I'd put it. Have you intentionally worked on that, or again, is it just something that you've kind of naturally had, and obviously it's not something natural. It's probably through the nurture of your life, but you haven't like intentionally been like focused on trying to improve it, or is it something that's very intentional?
No, yeah, very intentional.
Amazing. That's the answer I wanted,
Yeah.
because hopefully I'm going to get some value here. Then I'm going to get the notes out.
Yeah, no, I probably don't know how much I should divulge. But many years ago, I went to, well, I've been all over the Amazon to drink the medicine. It's called, it's a plant medicine. So you work with shamans, and you have a complete sort of mind expansion through a psychedelic tea, basically. And it's very powerful. And you feel basically that your whole awareness is like expanded, and it allows you to really see yourself in a completely different way. Like the film Limitless, you feel like you can achieve anything because you have this expansion of consciousness, and it's you see very very clearly that all these limitations are self-imposed. It's suddenly you get a bird's eye perspective, you know, like when the astronauts see the Earth and they have that perspective, and it completely changed me. And then it was the whole universe came down on me. It just completely changed me. And then I realized at that point, like the only limitations that we have is what we're self-imposed. We think we say, oh, I couldn't do that, or that's hard, but like who's saying that? It's just a part. It's an aspect of your ego that thinks you can't do something. It's so self-limiting, and then there's only you that's saying that. Who's saying you can't do it? Is this
When
yourself?
was this?
Oh, many years ago, probably 10 years ago.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense because like I mean, we probably won't go into like all the decisions, but like some of the decisions you've made, like when I've been on calls with you, I've like it's kind of made me feel like slight like, oh, that's a slight little bit of a risk, but it's worked out and it's made a lot of sense now in hindsight. And I was always kind of in awe of that with you, where you were able to make like the tough decisions when it was necessary, and just like and you had this aura of just like it would just work out, it would just do it, and it has, obviously, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think
So drink some tea then. All right, I'll head over to the Amazon, get a cup of
I
tea.
reckon that. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, and what made you want to go on that trip?
Um, well, just for those reasons, really, I've always had that aspect because like anything, when you're self-employed, you quickly realize like it's on you. Like, Mel Robbins' voice in your head, like nobody's coming to save you, and so it's on you then. So if you want to achieve, then you've got to do these things. So I've always had a really strong interest in, like, personal development and the stuff like that, and then doing meditation or doing just doing mind expanding things, and then you can, through that, you can then really like push the boundaries of what you thought were, what you've been conditioned to think is how you are, but really it's not. It's just like a certain jacket that you wear, and then you can take that off, and it's not a thing that has to be self-imposed.
This is something that for me I've been working on a lot. Like there's some certain YouTubers that I've watched who they really focus on like the limiting beliefs and the mindset expansion and working on your frequency, because it is just like one of the most important things you can do for your self development and your business.
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you as much. Like I thought maybe, but we haven't really we never really had this sort of conversation before. So it's very interesting. And what got you into like this the self development? Because like for me, I got into it very young. One of the weirdest things, I was always into it as a kid, into business, and was like always writing down numbers and stuff. But actually, Instagram Reels helped me a lot, like work on self development. I imagine it's not the same for you, but to share mine, like that's because I was just like, always looking at like people growing, and it's just like that. Like
Yeah.
I've heard this quote: "Your frequency is what you frequently see."
And you need to see because you are like the five people closest to you. So if
I love
you're
that one. Yeah, that's great.
exposed to people doing what you want to achieve, that's why it's so important that people go to seminars and conferences, because you're around people that are doing, or they're where you want to be, and then it's just simply being around them, you start to think like they do, or you start to act like they do. You just imbibe it naturally. So you just have
Yeah.
to be. It's what everyone says about career up. Like, you go for the people, and you go for like the energy, and you get to be in the same type of the atmosphere that people have these same goals. So you're putting yourself in those environments that is beneficial.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And then I found that massively when I started, because I did the first year of business for me. I literally, like, it was just me and Francesca, like no network, no connections, no, like just YouTube, me, Francesca, the business. That was it. It's like I didn't have any. I was never on doing anything like this, for example, like just having a conversation like this, never. So
I think what's
this is where you
interesting
can get a lot of
is
growth.
we have, deep down, like, we know what we want, or we have it. Say we have a dream, or we have like an idea of what we want our dream practice to look like, or like, and then I think really, people say that, like, you're pushed by your past, you're defined by your past, but someone said, like, well, what if you're like pulled from your future into your future self? So I think having this, when this whole self-development movement, then it became really popular to talk about like childhood traumas and like this type of thing, but then it can be reinforcing as well. And then seeing like, oh, you've had this thing happen to you, where that is also a little bit of a self-limiting thing that you put on yourself as well, like, oh, you've had a traumatic past, or you've had like hardship. So I think if inside of us we have a certain vision, or we have an idea of what we want, like, who's to say we're not being pulled by that? That makes sense.
100%. It's actually something that I probably, I was gonna say a victim of, but probably not the best use of word, but you probably know what I mean. It's like I was always driven by like the negative, like the running away. And I think in terms of how powerful it is very powerful. Like you can get a lot of action done through fear. Like you can make a lot of progress, but then you do get kind of caught up in probably like a negative frequency. This is I guess the word of the podcast is just that you get caught up in those negative thoughts, whereas the positive, that like more abundance is now like very, very recently, like literally like 2-3 weeks as I've kind of got this has come to my attention, that maybe actually that's not the right way to look at it, because guilt is like one of the worst emotions you can feel, and getting caught up in your bad frequency. And if you're thinking about the you should be working more because of this bad thing that's happened to you in the past, and then but you're not working as hard as you should, and you might go back to that negative place. Like if your frequency is what you frequently see, it's just like you're going to be constantly replaying that in your head again and again and again.
You can't outrun it fully, but the stories that we tell ourselves is so important. And even on a practical level, like if you have a philosophy of chiropractic that chiropractic means that, you know, it's life changing, and you need to embody that, and then you think chiropractic is having people on a progressive care plan, and you see objective results, and it's not about treating pain, it's about changing people's lives. And then the bigger perspective you have of it, then you start seeing that in people's results, and it's no longer like, oh, my back pain's better. It's all these other things, like, oh, I've had 10 years of like severe reflux. You see changes like that because it's your vision. It can enable that, it can hold that. So I think we have to be really cautious of like the stories we told ourselves, because one for me was about like running Facebook ads, you know, or would it affect your reputation? Like, is it cheap? And that can then hold you back. But you can always reframe things, and then you can always, you know, there's always a bigger picture that you can go to.
Yeah, we've definitely had that conversation a few times, especially on that initial call, like you weren't sure about it, and then now it's one of your kind of biggest streams of new patients, I believe.
Yeah.
And but it's definitely the 80-20, like focusing on the mindset, because like the best things are probably hidden behind fear, in my opinion. And so you just need to push it a little bit more. You mentioned a little bit about your goal. I don't know if you're happy to share a little bit about what you're wanting to achieve over the next few years. What's the vision look like? What's the North Star?
I think it's all coming together, because that's sort of what I mean about having the vision, and then you allow it to sort of sit, and then over time it sort of feels itself in organically. And then suddenly, because this idea of like expanding and then having these other services, you know, IDD or like a recovery suite, and then suddenly like the downstairs office comes up for lease, you know, it's all happening. Then I just think this has to be, it's like a dream, and then it's all just drawing in, you know, it just comes about. So I tend to just have like the idea of it, and then over time it just seems to come about, you know, it comes about.
Flipping it.
You do work at it, but it's, you know, in the background it's like that reticular activating, you know, the when you have in your mind a goal, in the background your brain is working to achieve that. Like people always give the example, like, oh, you want a new certain make of car, and then because it's in your mind, it's working in the background, so you suddenly start seeing that particular car everywhere you go. So if you're someone that wants to provide, like, you know, the highest level chiropractic care, and it's like neuro focus, then suddenly there's that segment. It all just like falls into place because it's already there, but it's searching for it.
Interesting. That's I haven't spoken to too many people who think about it that way, but it's very interesting. It's like it's just all going to, it's like divine timing. You ever heard of that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything will just kind of fit into place eventually.
Yeah.
It's just all in divine timing.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I think there was one other thing that I wanted to go through with you. This has been great, by the way. Like the mindset side of things. Gosh, this is the 80/20. This is the sort of stuff I love talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's very because I think you mentioned Stefan earlier.
Yeah.
Because we actually, like, the reason we're here right now is because you worked with Stefan. We have a partnership with Stefan. So everyone who doesn't know, Stefan owns, he has a coaching program called Practice Peak, but he also owns one of the most successful chiropractic clinics in the UK, Life Chiropractic, and in Essex. So he was the reason we got introduced, and I think he's probably been one of the biggest reasons as well why you'd be able to scale.
Yeah.
Maybe talk me through what's the biggest takeaway you've got from Stefan specifically? Because I look up to that guy so much. Like, he's helped me massively. He's actually he gave me one of the best pieces of advice ever, and this was about a year and a half ago. Because we worked with two niches. We had chiropractors we worked with. We also had some kitchen companies we worked with. And me and him had a call for an hour. And he I had this weird belief where I was like, no, we need to have two. And then he just convinced me to just drop the kitchen side of things.
Yeah.
And it was one of the best decisions we ever made. But because I just couldn't see it because we were smaller, and I had the scarcity mindset. He helped me massively. So yeah, I do need to give him a big shout out. But I know he's obviously the reason we're here right now on this call. And obviously a big reason why the practice is where it's at. So yeah, talk me through what's the biggest takeaway from Stefan.
So I think the accountability was huge because there's something about paying someone to tell you what to do. Because when I was on my own, and then I didn't do a lot of things, and I could just sort of hide behind the fact that it was just me and that my diary was full. And then when you have a bigger practice, just out of necessity, then you have to then start doing, spinal screenings, maybe you do corporate talks, and because you have associates. And then so just having him say there's this thing to do, there's that, this is how you do it, and he runs it through step by step. And then because it's someone saying to you, oh, just do it, and then you take the step then. So it was getting comfortable, and then there's just a constant reassurance that there's someone that anything you come up against, that he's probably dealt with it many times. So whether you want to ask about associates or running aspects of the business, and you just know that someone's there to say, no, just do it this way, and then it seems so simple and it's so reassuring, and there's not this stress.
Laying out the path.
How do I figure it all out, and how do you do this? And it's oh yeah, this is how we've been doing it for years, and then it's very reassuring.
Yeah, I have this because we have mentors as well that just lay out the path for us, and it's great because you're just crunching time, and you're paying with money, and you're not paying with time, which is exactly what you want to do because there's an infinite amount of money in the world. There's a limited amount of time.
When you haven't done things, and they can seem really complicated, but it's just a lack of knowledge. How on earth do you set up direct debits, and then how does that work? And then you just say, oh no, it's so simple, you just do this, and then it truly is, but you don't know half the stuff what you don't know. So you need a guide.
And your brain just tricks you into thinking it's harder than it is.
Yeah.
Did he get you on Zoni? Or did you get Zoni and then go to him?
No, I think it was initially I was with Stefan, and then we talked about Zoni. Yeah.
Amazing. So that sort of triangle of because there's this triangle of you got Stefan, us, Align Flow, and then Zoni obviously as well. That's the triangle that you have.
Yeah.
And Stefan's kind of laid that all out for you because he put us in contact. He put you in contact with Zoni. So that's really, really cool to see. Yeah, well, shout out to Stefan because appreciate it, man, for the help you've done to me, and I assume Jake's the same.
Definitely.
Amazing. Well, to wrap it up then, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, Jake, even though time has absolutely flown by. This is the part where I'm a little bit cheeky and I ask you to sell the thing that we sell for us.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a quick question for you, well, a couple actually. A very broad question first. Like, how has your experience with Align Flow been? Because we actually knew each other for probably around, I knew of you for a very long time, like a year before we actually started working together, because we were at a Cairo Hub seminar together. We didn't really speak too much, and then obviously we saw each other here and then. We saw each other at UCA October, and then after that, I think that's when we started to do some stuff. But yeah, how's it been?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, really good. It's so effortless, I'd say. The way that it's all handled, and then it's all booked, and because the whole system seems like so refined, the way the deposits are taken, and so it's been faultless. Like, we don't get any no-shows from it. Like, previously having like lead gen, that was basically just a Google Docs of contacts that we had to call, and then having that experience where probably like 1 in 3 would no show, and it would be sort of not the greatest like people, and then this is really the opposite. It's people with that are like really committed because they've paid a deposit, and it's just nice not having we know it's running in the background, and then like our staff don't need to do anything, and it's everything's just managed, so it's great.
I'm glad you think so. That's definitely like when we spoke, you had a really good perception of like, you understood a lot about marketing as well, and that's kind of the way I presented to you, as like, this is hands off. It's something you're going to add to your bow, a string to your bow. Like, you have other acquisition systems, but this is one you can just sit, you leave it, and it just does it for you. So I'm glad you like it, because it's been a pleasure working with you so far. I'm looking forward to doing a lot more together. And what would you say to someone who's considering, maybe a little bit unsure about working with us at Align Flow?
Well, I can't fault it, so I definitely encourage people to do it. It's all done for you, so you can't really go wrong. I would say having, like, we took the time like to make sure like the front facing, like the video ads itself, we wanted it to like look really nice and to be in the clinic and to like show the vibe, like maybe show some adjusting, and I think that really helps. And so I just encourage people to like not just have some like film that you've just made, like walking in the park, like have it done properly, and then it reflects like how you are as a practice.
Because you are taking them through a journey. That's literally like how we do the strategy calls. It's like, you've got step 1, 2, 3, and this is like the steps that people are going to go through. And that whole time they're building their perception of your brand. Yeah. And that's why we always want to have like the custom videos, the custom landing pages, the custom text, calling process being personalized as well. Like the entire thing. That's all even before they come into the clinic, which helps them with the conversion later
Definitely,
on.
Yeah.
And the final thing, and I really appreciate the testimonial there, Jake. The final thing is, any final words, anything, obviously, if you want to shout out your Insta, or if anything you want to do, or any tips, tricks, advice you would like to give to anyone would be great.
Oh.
I know. I feel like we've been doing this for a while now, but now I feel like I'll put you on the spot. Yeah. You've given an extreme amount of value, so if you just want to go, cheers, peace, you can message me on Instagram or something. That's fine.
No, I would just encourage people to, really push the profession, because it's still staggering that things haven't really evolved much in 30 years. Like, I would just encourage people to. It comes down to that thing about being self-employed. Like, it's on you, so it's fine if people are happy at a certain level, but why not like train so you're a really, really high level adjuster, like have a nice clinic, and just like really go for it, because why wouldn't you? Like, people deserve like the best. I'm reading this spiritual writings of BJ Palmer,
Ooh,
It's
okay.
unreal, how he traveled around the world like 3 times. This was like in the 20s and 30s when like most people didn't travel, and he was basically like a polymath, and like it's unreal. And this is what he's talking about. When if you can get that bigger picture that it's about innate, and like you just serve people, and then you need to, if the more you get into that, the bigger you can do that at a higher level. And it's so easy to get like in this reductionistic thing of like, oh, it's pain, and like let's treat your back pain, and then out you go. But if you can have like a bigger vision for yourself, that then starts to come through, I think. And I just think like it should be magic. You should be seeing magic like every day, and like people's lives changed, and like there's something, not it's not materialistic, it's something. Oh yeah, that's innate. And then I think that's where the magic is. And then if you're not feeling that magic, I don't know if that's real chiropractic. That's at least how I'm now seeing it, is these nervous system changes, and how it has an impact like much deeper. Like recently thinking how, catch myself, and I think, oh, I can't believe how like everything's come together, and I think, oh God, that adjustment. I think I can't believe, like, because you put in all the hard work, but then suddenly it comes together, and you think, oh, like now that I was literally thinking today, like, oh, the results I see now is unreal. And like it's years and years of doing different adjusting seminars, but it's come to a realization. And then I was just reading like BJ's writings, and then like is that like the bigness of the fellow within, and then it's really like that's what you want to touch upon in people, and just like give what he called that something special. Yeah.
That's amazing. And is it something you're reading online, or is it a book you've bought,
It's a
Kindle? What
book.
what are you
It's
reading it
a
on? You've got the
Simon
book.
Tenzin book, who's like a chiropractic historian. So he's written, because the green books they're very hard to read. It's really affected the profession, like because there's a lot of it's unintelligible. But when you so he's sort of taken bits of it and distilled it, and then it's really nice.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, everyone in Wind back, and you can get the name of the guy, and you'll find the book, I guess, on Amazon or
Yeah,
something. Is that Amazon?
you
You
can
can
get
get
it
it on
on
Amazon?
Amazon. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Hopefully Jeff Bezos gives me a commission for saying that. When he gets those Amazon sales. Very good. Well, Jake, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Really appreciate it. Look forward to doing bigger and better things with you going forward. Got some exciting stuff coming. We'll probably be doing another one in the next 3 to 6 months. And yeah, thank you for providing so much value today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Dan.